exact topic. Though it might seem odd, I must admit, but I really just want to show that humans can do extremely evil things, and actually Adolf Hitler isn't really a special kind of human or anything, because a lot of times when people think about history, it's easy to be like, yeah, but that guy was a monster, so that's why that happened. But it's always a society that grants these normal people, psychopaths, the ability to become this evil dictator. So, without further ado, we will be exploring why, what you might have in common with Adolf Hitler. For one thing, do you have a sweet tooth? Do you like sweet things like birthday cake, chocolates, anything like that? Well, Adolf Hitler was a known sweet tooth. As a matter of fact, he was an extremist when it came to liking sweet treats, apparently. So yeah, that's one that a lot of people might share. Alright. Are you, for example, a night owl? Well, you guessed it. So was he. So was Adolf Hitler. There are a lot of testimonies and, like written documents that say that Adolf Hitler used to host these late evening parties or late evening movie parties where he would invite his inner circle, and they were actually kind of forced to stay awake with him and listen to him rant or watch the movie he liked and stuff like that. So yeah. Are you by any chance a fan of King Kong? The story. I believe it's Disney. Well, so was Adolf Hitler. So, yeah, he was apparently obsessed with King Kong, and also, what is the other? Snow White, obviously. So yeah, those are very popular. Yeah. Also, but that is like maybe a lesser. I don't know. Do you like the opera? Do you like Wagner? Because you guessed it, you liked it as well. But that's an obvious one. I think we all know that he was obsessed with Wagner's sound. I believe you say it like that. But another one, a bigger one that you might share with this evil that is Adolf Hitler is the following. Do you, by any chance, have a failed career path in your past? Have you had a dream that you could not pursue for any reason? Well, obviously, we all know the story that Adolf Hitler wanted to be an artist, but got rejected. Because at the time, he only painted landscapes or buildings like postcards. He actually bought postcards. I think that's when he was in Vienna. And he copied them to make a living. But he only painted like buildings or landscapes, and back then, if you really wanted to be an artist, you had to paint people, but he didn't do that. So that's not really the entire reason why he got rejected, but it's one of the reasons, yeah. So we will continue with a few psychological traits you might share with this evil dictator in the past, from the past. Do you have by any chance the need for specific plans, whilst he really should have, because as we all know, Adolf Hitler was really not a military genius or a military strategist at all, and he distrusted his generals, and because he had this need for control, he actually lost. Probably one of the reasons why he lost the war, because he couldn't let go, and his generals were way brighter than him, especially in regards of warfare, But because he was always needing to be in control, he couldn't let go, and he made a lot of bad decisions strategically. So yeah, let's move on. This one is a big one. Have you ever fell for what we call tribalism? Because, you guessed it, Hitler also fell for it. It's a hugely common trait for people to believe in like an us versus them kind of mentality. And whilst it's obviously flawed, a lot of humans seem to fall into that trap that is tribalism. And I believe also a lot of people don't even realize they do it, because it might be way more subtle than just like political left versus right, Oftentimes it can be like as silly as during a football game, and I mean European football, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. You call football whatever you want to call football, man. I don't care. But like, obviously you favor your own team the most, but that's exactly the same as with political issues and such. So yeah, I'm kind of freeballing this one. So I mean, like, I have written down some things, like bullet points, but I'm just rambling on about it. So might not have been the best example of the football game, but I decided to roll with it. So yeah, we all fall for it, and I believe that in Nazi Germany this concept was huge, but not only because basic human psychology, but also because Goebbels' propaganda machine, Goebbels, he was the propaganda minister, and he realized a really effective strategy of having the masses be on your side is to just always be in the news. You always had to be in the news or in the newspapers back then. He said it doesn't matter if it's good news or bad news, or it's the enemy that is talking about you. As long as they're talking about you, that's publicity. And there are a lot of certain politicians who act that way, and it works, because they all have a following, and oftentimes a following that just vote for them because they are familiar with him, or her. So, that's a lot of a trick politicians still use today. Anyways, moving on. Like, do you ever, have you ever fell victim for like confirmation bias? Because Hitler and actually everybody falls for it, Once you believe something, it's often that you just ignore data that's against your point of view, and you just cherry pick certain statistics or whatever to just prove your point. So you can be able to go downwards into this spiral want to be involved in any form of reflection on their self, like, and that can cause like this. One of the reasons, I'm just like, I'm being yeah, as we would say in Dutch, kort door de bocht, but straight to the point, but like too fast. I mean, like, I don't know, but I believe that a lot of like these extreme cases where people just completely fanboy a politician or whatever, oftentimes those are people who went through some difficult times, but it's oftentimes easier to like follow than to look inwards in yourself, and yeah, and I believe that confirmation bias is oftentimes linked to this echo chamber we have with the internet, and you just have like a constant confirmation bias on a certain political view, be it left or right, or I don't care. We all just, a lot of people, they think that they know everything because the internet exists and constantly confirms their own beliefs, and that is incredibly sad. But it's not new. This also happened like a century ago, but then in different ways, now it's extremely so. But yeah, this used to happen to people in Nazi Germany, but it's also happening today, like, obviously. So I guess these were the points that I had written down. I thought it was interesting to approach this topic. It might be a controversial topic, but I think it's interesting because I believe that it is a fascinating thing to think about. What can make a just like actually kind of a loser like Hitler such a powerful man, because if you look at his life and at what he achieved, and also this gigantic contrast between who he was and who he like imposed as the ideal Aryan man, that's just like, that's interesting, So I guess, yeah, I'm gonna end this video right now because I ramble on, and it's been a long day. So I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video. So yeah, bye.